Hello everyone, I hope you're having a beautiful day. So this video I wanted to make this video for a while, and it is about mediumship readings and how they actually work. So psychic and mediumistic are two different things. If you are psychic, you tend to be reading energy, so you can be picking up information from the past, present. The future is changeable, so we can't always predict the future, but we can pick things up and in the most likely way. And a medium would be communicating with either your spirit guides, your ancestors, or people who've actually passed over on the other side. So all mediums are psychic and not all psychics are mediums. There is a bit of controversy on whether you can train to be a medium, and I'll leave that up to you to decide because I feel like everyone has their opinion and they're entitled to it. So how a reading actually goes and how we, as a medium, that you would communicate information is I'm on the third dimension. There's the fourth dimensional plane, where time and space no longer exist, and the fifth dimension is where the spirit world resides. So the spirit world will have to lower their frequency to the fourth dimension, the medium will have to raise their frequency to the fourth dimension, and then we can telepathically communicate somewhere in the middle. And there's this common misunderstanding in readings that the spirit world is talking to you. What's actually happening is they're communicating. So they're bringing their mind close to my mind, and then they're touching it with information that I then have to interpret. And sometimes I think people think when they come for a reading, I just want to know this one specific sentence my husband used to say. And sometimes it will come through, but also sometimes not. And that can be for many different reasons. What we're really looking for in a reading, particularly the mediumistic side, is that we bring through clear messages, the personality of the speaker, and this includes spirit guides and ancestors, rather than specific pinpoint information. And one thing I wanted to touch on in this video as well is the trend of channeling. So channeling 11th dimension beings and that spiritual practice is becoming very prominent, and it has been for many, many years. This is the issue I have with channeling really anything above the fifth dimension, is that you're working with beings who either have never been in physical form or haven't been in physical form for maybe thousands of years. So getting help and information from a 7th dimension or an 11th dimension being is probably not very helpful. They're going to talk to you in a way that's very metaphorical. It will usually be about love and higher energy and higher frequency. And that can be really helpful for some things, but getting help on a day-to-day level, like where am I going to move to, health challenges that we might want insight about, those things are not going to come from an 11th dimension being. They will come from somebody who has been recently embodied because they understand the human, how being a human works. So that would be somebody who's recently passed over. It can sometimes come from the spirit guides. It's mostly going to come from your family that's passed over, and it can sometimes come from your ancestors. So if they've been embodied, 1 or 2 generations ago. And the difference with mediumistic and psychic abilities is that you can actually get information from the spirit world about your life. They will talk about, sometimes give you advice and give you guidance, and it will be very different advice, spirit world to psychic. Why I like to get information from the spirit world is because psychically, when you're picking up information, particularly about the future, the sitter, the person getting the reading, their mental changes can then impact the future. It can be very difficult to predict. It's very easy to predict either things that are happening in a group, so it involves many souls having a soul lesson. Those are big points of energy that tend to not change. It's also very easy to predict something in a month or 2 months, right? Because those things tend to be set in stone. What it's difficult to predict is things that are long-term and in the future. Not impossible, but difficult. And I prefer to work with the spirit world to get information because they can see it in a much broader sense. The challenge with this is sometimes you're not always going to hear what you want. But you will hear what is important for you at that moment and what is actually going to bring you to a place where you're aligned and you're whole. And even though I'm in the communicator in the middle between the spirit world and the physical world, they are also trying to help you get to a place where you're more in tune and at home with your intuition, so that maybe eventually you don't need the medium. You can have that dialogue or that relationship with the spirit world, not necessarily in the same way, but there's still some sort of open dialogue. So if you are interested in getting a reading or healing session, kinesiology, Reiki, and orthobionomy, you can go through my website. All of my information is on my Facebook page. I hope you have an amazing day.